questions, questions. There are so many questions. How is it that the word verb is a noun? Why doesn't the fattest man on the planet become a goalkeeper? Why is it called after dark when in actual fact it's after light? And if you had X-ray vision and could see through anything, wouldn't you see through everything and see nothing? But the biggest question is, what is happiness? In fact, the biggest question of all is, what is the meaning of life and everything? But let's start small with what is happiness. Have you noticed that's all we all want, isn't it? We just want to be happy. But it's amazing how many people have no idea what happiness is. In fact, to some people, complaining and moaning all day long is their idea of being in heaven. But happiness, actually we might not know what happiness is, but we certainly know when we're unhappy, don't we? And we're usually unhappy for one of two reasons. The first reason being is when we might lose something. We might lose a possession, a car, we might lose our dignity, we might lose a friend or a family member. The second circumstance is when we don't meet our expectations. We're expecting to lose a certain amount of weight by a certain time and we don't reach that target, we become disappointed, we become unhappy. So we know what unhappiness is, but most of us don't know what happiness is. With regards to happiness, we need to put a definition on it. And I guess that there are as many definitions of being happy as there are people on the planet. So I thought I would share with you my 7 foundation stones to happiness. So here we go. I suggest that you use at least one of these foundation stones, but build your happiness on all 7 if you possibly can. First of all, treat yourself like your own best friend. Have you noticed how often we beat ourselves up from time to time? Oh, no, stop it! Don't do that. Would you do that to your best friend? No, you wouldn't. Love yourself. Now, by the way, I've got to point out, there's a difference between loving yourself and being in love with yourself. So treat yourself like your own best friend. 2, appreciate what you already have. Pause and be grateful. Now that doesn't mean that we can't strive for bigger and better things. Just be happy with what you already have. And in particular, appreciate the family, the friends and the colleagues that you have. Be happy with what you already have. 3, give something from time to time. Now, have you noticed how you feel when you give something? You might help somebody with something. It might be that you give a homeless person some coppers, or give somebody a gift, doing a random act of kindness, buy a neighbour some flowers for no reason other than to make them feel good. That'll help you to feel good. 4, find a purpose in your life. Now, we're so busy doing our work, we need to find a purpose in our lives, because when we have a purpose in our lives, and it might be our work, it might be that we're bringing up children, but when we have a purpose in our lives and we work towards that purpose, it often gives us the incentive to overcome obstacles. 5, remind yourself of past victories. It's amazing how forgetful we are. We forget of just how resourceful we are, how good we are. When we remind ourselves of our past victories, it reminds us of just how good we are. It raises our self-esteem. 6, involve in your life what brings you joy. I'll say that again. Involve in your life what brings you joy. Now that is such an obvious one. But we are often just caught up in our work, in the everyday running of our lives. We're going from one task to another to another. We need to involve in our lives the things we enjoy. We need to be with the people we love as often as we possibly can and do the things we love doing as often as we possibly can. And 7, choose to be happy whatever happens to you. Now, at times that can be very, very challenging, but that is the real secret, the true secret to happiness. To be happy, to do your best to be happy no matter what. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it. Quite often the people who are the most poor, the people who are the most ill tend to be the happiest people. Why? They can't control what's happening to them, but they do control their attitude. So be happy, whatever. And that's it. So there are the 7 foundation stones for happiness to be going on with. And as for that big question, the meaning to life and everything, well, the answer is very simple. Come closer. And that's it. As simple as that. So until next time, stun the world, be astonishing.